need to have preferred 2 tabs open just to make your life simpler and easier. Once you get to your command, the first thing I want you guys to do is make sure you go over to your name in the top right and go to settings. You're going to go to the left to where it says connect settings and down to your marketing profile. This should be your starting ground while building your website. Here you can upload your own profile headshot, your own team logo, and all of your agent licensing number and professional name, team name, your title as a realtor, and a slogan. This will all auto-populate onto your site where it needs to go. So you want to make sure you guys have this set up. It's important down here, all the way at the bottom, your market center DBA name. Make sure that is correct to your office. And if you guys need that file, let me know. I can send you one that's the correct size. Here, I'm going to go ahead and put a professional headshot in instead of the regular KW. Like I said, it does have to be a certain size. So I'll go over here to Canva really quick. I'll just go to logo. Logos are normally 500 by 500 pixels, so it makes it easy to shrink them down to meet sizing demands. I'm going to go ahead and select my headshot. And all I'm doing is changing the size. I believe it said it needs to be on command. It said it needed to be 360 by 360 pixels. So I shrunk it down to 250 by 250. Make sure it's good. Make sure my background's transparent because I don't want any of this white stuff in my image. I'll go back to my photo on command. Upload that new smaller image. You'll see it populate over here right above my team logo. And scroll all the way down to save. And then we'll go back over to our Keller Williams website. Okay, it did populate my headshot. And you guys want to make sure you have all of this set up in your marketing profile before you even start on your website. Make sure you've got your slogan, your name, and the correct images that you want to use. Now that we have that done, we're going to go ahead and go to our website where we can start to create new pages and designs. So if you go all the way down to the bottom left, you'll see consumer. Almost looks like 2 tabs, 2 computer or 2 internet tabs that are on top of each other. Sometimes it'll be labeled as consumer. Sometimes it'll be labeled as a website. So we'll go ahead and click that one. It's the bottom left one. Here, before editing our site, we want to make sure we have some of our backend settings set up correctly. So up here in the top left, you'll see 2 options, my websites. It is in beta or beta. That will actually be going live in full the 15th of this week in August.
The first screen was new. When you click on the websites at the bottom, that's different than it was when I built mine.
Yeah. So they are actually rolling out a whole new command website on the 15th of this week. Once that happens, any type of custom page that you've built or that we're going to build today, unfortunately, it will be lost unless you save them or back them up to your computer, all of our agent sites will be wiped and
We'll have to rebuild it.
and have to be rebuilt. Correct.
Should we wait to do the class to rebuild it?
Right, literally, that's what I was thinking. Honestly, thankfully, all of this will actually go hand in hand. I'm showing you some pretty technical stuff today that will work on any website builder or any CRM. So it might get a little dry, but these tools that I'm going to give you are pretty consistent across all website builders. So I hope you can find them useful. So up here, I was saying we have the two categories, my websites and settings. You'll want to go over to settings and scroll down. This is where you can control some of the things on your website. You can change your domain name if you wanted to say Trenton Blevins instead of just T Blevins, or instead of tthompson.kw.com, you could have your full name. You can even change it to something different. If you wanted someone to type in just your initials, tb@kw.com, you could have that, and it would populate to the same website that you have.
Shoot, mine's already on the new card, the icon, so I'm not changing it.
Right. Yep, that it does come in handy if you have any printing errors, temporary fixes. So let's say your business card was printed with the wrong URL. You can go in here to your website and change that really quick temporarily until you can afford or till you have time to get new business cards printed. So that does come in handy. Down here, you have your app URL. The app and your website are going to go hand in hand. They're the same thing, and every page that you create on your website will also be on your app. The app is going to be basically your website, just in a simpler, more easy to use and more easy to access page meant for mobile devices. Your preferences down here, I like to keep these all enabled. I wouldn't really worry about those too much. Below that, we have a pretty interesting, useful tool that Keller Williams has given us. So when someone comes to your page, they have the option to create an account that allows you to gather their data as a lead just by them coming and looking at a listing. So what it is we can have them automatically be forced to register depending on how many properties they look at. So it's a personal preference. Some people like to do unrestricted, which means your visitor on your website can look as many listings as you have without ever having to sign up. You can have them look just at 10 properties before they sign up, 2 properties, or they can't look at a single listing or single property without signing up first. So it's all personal preference on what you guys would like. I would probably recommend personally 2 properties based on my feedback that I receive. As of right now, I'm going to leave it as unrestricted. You guys, if you do change anything, make sure you're hitting the save changes in the bottom left. Now that we've got all the back end out of the way and we can successfully set up our marketing profiles and our domain.
What it open up to, that's what it should open to.
Right. So it automatically entered me into expert mode. This is what the expert mode looks like. If we go back to where the settings and my websites are, if you go to my websites beta and hit edit agent site, it should take you to a simple version, just like this. This simple version is where we can make a couple quick changes to what our homepage looks like.
Is that new?
It is. Yeah, this is part of the beta. So here It's pretty interesting. They have a couple new features, and I did get to watch a demo video on some of the new additions that they're rolling out into the full version. One of the coolest features that I noticed was this banner right here that shows your categories and pages, your name and the logo. You can actually make that transparent now to blend in with your image that you set as your header. So it looks pretty nice. It looks pretty clean, making that transparent. As well, you can go down here on the left where you have a couple buttons and select styling. This is going to allow you to change the theme of your homepage and website. You can leave it as the Keller Williams theme default. You can do a dark theme. You can do a slate. You can do red and then red and dark. I prefer the red and dark because this looks the best. And once we get those transparent headers or transparent banners up here, the menus, it looks really nice. So I'm going to leave it as KW red dark. You do want to publish up here in the top right after you've made a change, or else if you go to a different page, it's going to ask you, are you sure you want to leave? You can cancel or close without publishing. If you hit close without publishing, it's going to take you to that new page without any save or any changes being saved. So I'm going to hit cancel and go up here and hit publish because I like that red dark theme. So down here it says page published successfully. Now you can go on to different buttons. There's a quick little add content button. I'm excited to see all of the types of media and content we can add once this goes live. As of right now, they just have it in experimental beta version to where you can only add blog posts. Up above that, you go to your pages. And the only one that they have allowed for us to edit so far in this beta version is the home page. This is where you can start to get a little creative. I did see that the new full version includes videos. You will have to upload that video to YouTube. It can be unlisted or public. You just need to have the URL, the YouTube URL, and then you'll be able to create a video that plays behind your search bar as your header. For now, I'm going to go save an image really quick that might be decent to use as my header. I would recommend, actually, this is what we'll do. I'll go ahead and do that for you. So we're just going to go to Branson Ferris wheel, or you can type in Branson beautiful homes. Since I've got a dark theme, I think I'm going to go ahead and choose a dark picture of the Ferris wheel, a night picture. I'm going to go ahead and save that. Now that we're back on our website editor, I'm going to go ahead and upload that image as my banner. Your featured properties will be right below that. Here you can change your title, the description, and that's where all this will be, your featured properties, and check out my featured properties. You can change that to be more branded towards you. You can select a couple different listings that you'd like featured on your homepage. You can select an address and change the population or the radius. So this will show you 20 miles, all the listings within 20 miles from this address underneath your featured properties. You can add testimonials, a couple blogs, and hopefully soon to come with the full version, we'll get even more options. You always want to make sure you publish after making any changes. My picture of the Branson Ferris wheel at night, it did populate. Now that we've published and saved all of our changes, we're going to go ahead and get into expert mode. It's going to get a little dicey after this. So if you have any questions or if I need to stop and slow down, just let me know. if you've seen the Facebook video or you were in class for that, for my Facebook training, we went over how to make a listing page, a landing page that is specifically based on a certain address. That property landing page, I'll go ahead and show you that. This is what we created last time. It's going to look like this with my new theme. So here, we're kind of limited with our custom landing pages. I'll show you that here in a second. They look really nice. So we're running an ad specific to this new listing. This is where we would send them to after clicking on that ad. So that way they can be led straight to all the information that we didn't provide for them in the ad. It's kind of limited here. If you go down to add module, it only gives you a couple things to add: a form, a property landing custom content block, a property landing virtual tour, and that is it. This is what our property landing pages look like if we were to go to create a new one on our dashboard. That's what it would look like. It only gives you those three things that you can add additionally past the listing. So you'd go ahead and put in your listing up here, the image that you'd like, and then it already gives you these 5 assets on that page that they can access. One of them being the contact form.
I'm confused on why you went back to the Facebook page.
Yep. So I'm just showing you that it's really limited, and I'm going to show you a better way to make it. So this is if you were to try to add anything else. So Keller Williams has a mortgage calculator. They have virtual tours. They have local school searches. And unfortunately, if anyone was looking at that Facebook page that we created, this property landing, I'll go back to it really quick. If they were looking at it and were interested in this property, but they were interested in seeing the local schools in that area, they wouldn't be able to. They would have to go to a whole new page and leave this listing or this landing page, and they would have to go local school search it themselves. If they wanted to see how much a mortgage would cost, they would probably back out of this page or create a new tab and go to a vendor that they Google themselves. But we all as agents have our preferred vendors that we would like our clients to use. Or we have recommendations on schools in the area that we would like them to have access to on this listing page without them ever having to go to Google or leave this page right here. So again, what I just showed you is this button right here, property landing page template. I'm going to show you a better way of creating this. So that way you can access the mortgage calculator, local school searches, or any other HTML embed that you like on your page. And I'm gonna show you exactly how to do all of that. So if you go to the landing page template, here we're gonna go ahead and create that listing page with more assets. We're going to go all the way down to page contents because as of right now, we have nothing on our page. We're going to hit add module. We're going to need a few things. I prefer a listing carousel. We're going to add another module. A stat list, A or B, 2 different styles. I'm going to choose stat list A. So we've got the listing carousel selected as an asset. We've got the stat list, which is going to be the bedrooms, the square footage, the beds, the garage, all that's going to be under the stat list. We're going to add a couple more modules that we would like on this page. We're going to add the mortgage calculator, which is going to be under HTML embeds, all the way on the bottom. It will show you two different mortgage calculators. One is a page, and one is the HTML mortgage calculator. We want the HTML mortgage calculator. We're going to add another module. It's going to be an HTML embed again. And we're going to select the local school search. After it pops all of this up, we're going to have a couple things we need to add. At the top, we've got our actual listing that we want to show. For instance, my listing that I'm going to do is Sunken Drive, number 10. So I'm going to make that my title. So anyone who visits this page knows what address they're looking at. If you scroll down, you can add your listing. You'll start to see it populating over here on the right. Before I move on to the next module, I like to leave a call to action. You want that call to action to be internal. External means it's going to be a call to action that sends them to a different website or web source. So we're going to leave it internal because we don't want them to leave our website. The call to action button, you can have this a couple of different things. You can have it send them straight to a mortgage calculator, straight to your preferred vendor list. Any one of your pages that you have, you can send them straight there. I like to send them to booking a real estate consultation. So it sends them directly to get in contact with me. And you can put your slogan here in your call to action button text. And this is what the call to action is going to say. I'm going to say, move now. And that's going to finish up the first asset, which is our listing. Going to go down to number 2, stat list. You're going to leave the title blank, the description blank, and we're just going to add stats. The title will be what the stat is. I'm going to put bed or beds. The value is how many there are. Going to add another stat, which is going to be my baths. The value is how many baths I have on this listing. The next stat that I add will be square feet. And these are all personal preference, what you want them to know about this listing. And the square footage is 1,432. The last stat that I like to add is the total price. Again, you do have an option to leave a call to action button. I'm going to leave that blank on mine because we already put one. And we're going to move on to the next asset. Number 3. It's going to be your mortgage calculator. We're going to make sure we have the HTML mortgage calculator on there. And if you do, we're going to move on to the last thing. And that's going to be checking the local school search. Make sure that is selected. And again, these can be anything you want to add to this page. Anything you'd think that they would need about this listing without having to go to Google or without having to go to Zillow or any other website to figure it out. They don't need to go to Google and type in a mortgage. Since we added the calculator, this will be provided by Keller Williams. And they can type in the math, their home value, the down payment that they want to put, and it will calculate it all based off of what they've entered from this listing. Below that, they have the local school search now. So in this case, or in this instance, Tom is wanting to add a blog specifically underneath this, if this was his case. I'm going to just go to something about fishing. Fishing report. So right here, we want this fishing report to be at the bottom of our new listing page. What you're going to do, so if you want to make an iframe, then you would just need the URL, which I can show you the iframe first, because that is the easiest. So if this was the page that we wanted there, we would go up here to our URL and copy it. We'd go back to that landing page we were just creating and add that module. As of right now, we don't have that module made, but we are still going to go to an iframe because that's what we're going to make it. We're going to include a space for that iframe. We're going to hit that drop box to search for our iframe that we haven't created yet, and we're going to go to create new. Once you get here, make sure your internal name, we can put it as fishing report. Make sure you label it with a name that you're going to remember. Underneath there is where you're going to copy and paste that URL. And it should automatically import it. So before you move on, some things you'll notice is you can scroll up and down on this. Sometimes you can also scroll right and left, depending on the width of what you're trying to show on the website. If that bothers you and you don't like that, the width, make sure your iframe width is 100%.
So they don't have to scroll.
So they don't have to scroll. The 100%, you can change the height as well to 100%. Right now it's in pixels. If you change that to 100%, what that does is if someone goes to a mobile phone and views this, it won't be stretched and it won't be cut off in any way. They won't have to scroll right and left to see the full image. It will be 100% of whatever the screen device is, or the device's screen is. So after we've made this iframe, we're going to go ahead and hit publish. After it says published and saved, you'll hit back in the top left above your iframe, and it will take you back to that landing page we were creating where we want that iframe to show. We'll toggle that Dropbox down again, and right at the top, it should show you the recently updated or recently created iframe, and we will select the phishing report. And it will show you the preview on the right and underneath the school zone. The good thing about iframes is it does show you a live feed. So as the owner of this website, Keegan, as he updates this and adds new phishing reports,
Yeah,
it will be live.
That's what I was talking about.
Sometimes it does get a little choppy using iframes. If Keegan's Magic Spot website, if he paid for a third-party security service, it would not populate as an iframe. And that's where your HTML embeds come in handy. You can do some coding, which I'll show you here in a minute, that will allow you to bypass that security. You'll know that you've ran into a security issue if once you try to iframe it, instead of showing you the actual live feed of the site, it's going to show you a gray screen with a frowny face that says cannot connect to that website. So now I'm going to show you how to reorder some of this. Before I do that though, I'm going to go ahead and add one last thing, and that's going to be a virtual tour. I want to give the people who have landed on this page a virtual tour. So I'm going to go to add module. Keep in mind, this will only work if your MLS feed has the virtual tour on there of that listing. After we've add module, we'll go all the way down to the bottom where it says property landing virtual tour. We're going to go ahead and add that. And you'll type in that URL that you access on your MLS. I'll show you how to do that really quick, just in case no one has had to do that before. You'll go to your MLS. You'll type in that listing that you're trying to use. You'll go, once you're at that listing on your MLS, up here in the top right, you'll have edit search, list, detail, map, stats, and photos. We want photos. And if you haven't already, I do recommend going ahead and saving 4 of your favorite ones, just in case you might want to use them anywhere on your website. That virtual tour, it looks like I have 2 videos under this listing that are virtual tours. You'll want to go ahead and hit play. And up here in the top right, you'll see the share button. And that is where you get your YouTube link. Control copy that YouTube link. And now we can go back to our landing page we were building. And in that asset, virtual tour asset or module, we're going to go ahead and copy and paste that URL. So here we have all the things that we want. We've got our actual listing, all the stats about the listing, and then a mortgage calculator right there for them if they want to just go ahead and see what that would cost. And then you've got down here your local school search, and then our phishing report or anything you would like to add.
My computer is still tied up from every magic spot.
Yeah, the HTMLs or the iframes. They've got to connect 2 ways. They got to send a signal and then get one back. So they might slow up your website just a little bit. So here, I'm going to show you how to readjust all of your modules that you added. If you haven't noticed yet, you can minimize the drop downs by hitting these little numbers. And you can open them back up and close them. I like to work with them all closed once I've created them all. That way I can drag them and place them where I would like. The beginning, on the top of my page, I like my stats to be present from the get-go. So I'm going to go ahead and move my stat list just by clicking and dragging to be number 1. Then I have my listing with my call to action button, the mortgage calculator underneath that, the school zones, and my virtual tour. I actually want my virtual tour to be above the stat list. I want it to be the first thing people see. Video is king right now in creating leads. People love good videos. We would rather watch and be informed than have to do it ourselves. So I'm going to put that virtual tour right at the top, then my stats, and then my listing, then the mortgage calculator. Then if they're still interested, they can do the local school search and then a fishing report. So now that my virtual tour is populated up to the top, people can watch that video. I'm going to focus on the looks of this now. Because as of right now, if they go to this, there's no title, it's pretty bland. There's no thumbnail. It's just a gray screen that says start tour. So I'm going to go ahead and go on the left, back all the way up to the top where it says generate permalink. Main and styles, I'm going to go down to my landing page title. This is where you want to go ahead and put in the address, or if you have a slogan like it's your move, you can put that there. The description I normally leave out unless you want to include just a little bit about it. Maybe a short little snippet of your bio so they are reminded who they're working with and why they should work with you. Here you can change the page's header. I'm going to upload a file, choose file. And here I recommend going ahead and putting a picture of a listing, of that listing. But I'm going to go ahead and choose that Ferris wheel Branson picture again. In the full release, I believe these will also be able to be videos if you have your YouTube URL. Kind of want them, I use the Ferris wheel because I kind of want to give them that they're moving to Branson vibes. Unfortunately, you can only use one background image. You can upload multiple, but it will only let you use one. And you can also hide the title if you don't want any title at all. Now that we've created that, we've got a virtual tour. Our stat list, our listing, call to action, and the mortgage calculator. So right now, our listing is looking kind of bland after the virtual tour because it just shows a small little picture of the house. I'm going to go ahead and add a module. And I'm going to go to property landing at the bottom, custom content block. This custom content block is where you'll be able to add videos, images, or any important graphics that we would like them to know, like your logo. Here would be where you would select a couple pictures of your listings. So here's my listing right here. Your GQ pictures you want to put all in here. I'm just going to go with those two for now. Unfortunately, they do have a required content, so you have to label these. I'm going to label it the front view. I'm going to go ahead and hit my number to get it out of the way. And I'm going to drag it all the way up above my listing. So that way they can see those first, right after they see the stats. And here's where they're going to see that. And now you have more pictures that they can go through. I'm going to go ahead and hit publish, and I'm going to call it a day because there's nothing else I want to add to that landing page. The mortgage calculator, the school loans, the agent contact form, the call to action to set up a consultation is all on this single landing page. Now we're going to go back to the dashboard, and I'm going to show you some fun things that you can create with iframes. A lot of the agents here work in the Branson area. And a lot of the things that I see them posting on their social medias are, in Tom's instance, it would be fishing spots in this area. Great places to go fishing, what he's catching them on. So I'm going to go ahead and show you how to create a custom page all about fishing. Page title, I'm going to call Tom's Catch of the Day. And I know Tom has some pretty good pictures that he can use of him catching some bass. I'm going to use a stock one for now, not of Tom. You go ahead and save that image. Make sure I've got access to it. I'm going to go back here and we're going to build Tom's catch of the day out. Down below is where you can add your header. And I'm going to choose that picture of Tom with his bass. And that's going to populate right there at the top. And now that we've got that done, we can start adding our modules that we want. So I'm going to go down to an iframe embed. Hit the drop down arrow and create a new iframe. For this instance, I'm going to use that he caught a 5-pound bass yesterday on a, let's see, what'd you catch your last fish on?
It's on a kiwi peanut butter and jelly. Peanut butter and jelly kiwi jig with a green pumpkin crawl.
So let's say he's been catching, this has been his favorite lure that he's been using. And he's been catching them all day on these. And now he wants to recommend them to you. He can use the picture, or he can actually use the page to where you can directly buy it yourself. We're just going to go ahead and copy and paste that URL. Go back to our custom page, or sorry, our custom iframe. And we're going to label it with a clear name that we can remember what iframe it is. I called it Jig of the Day. And I'm going to go ahead and copy that. So this is what would happen if they have a security in place. So Bass Pro refused to connect. So what I'm going to do I'm going to go back to my image. Instead of using the URL, you want to double click on that image and inspect it. Instead of saying inspect, it might say view page sources. If you inspect it or hit that, it's going to show you this code in the right of your screen. Here is the HTML code. And you'll see it labeled with a pink HTML. If you double click on the HTML code and hit edit as HTML, it will bring up the HTML code that you need. And you would just copy and paste this. You should be able to double click on that HTML code and hit select all and just copy and paste. Unfortunately, we were creating an iframe, so we're going to have to switch now from an iframe to an HTML code, since our iframe was blocked by security. We'll do the HTML embed, drop down, create new. And right here, you can copy and paste that raw HTML. And we'll make sure we have this titled clearly so we know what it is. Make sure you publish it so it saves. Go back to our page we're creating under the HTML embed. And now the jig of the day is there. We'll add that. I'm going to go back to Google. And I'm going to go to Google Maps. And I'm going to show which part of the lake I caught that bass on today. I was over down Indian Point by Stillwater. I've got it selected to show them where I caught it at, right here on the water. You can't double click on the map, unfortunately. So you'll want to go over here to this drop down and double click and hit inspect or view page source. So this is where it gets interesting. We don't want everything on this page to be shown. We just want the map shown. So if you highlight over all these code sources or elements on the right that we are inspecting, it will show you which one is which. It will highlight on the screen which code belongs to which. It is a little time consuming to find the right ones, but nothing too difficult. I mean, you're building a website after all, it's going to take a little bit of time, so it's expected. But just keep going through all these elements until the map is highlighted the way you want it. So here I have everything highlighted. Once you find the right one, just go ahead and double click on it. Edit as HTML. It's going to bring up the HTML code that you need. Go ahead and double click again, select all, and copy it. And now we know it's going to be a HTML embed. So we're going to go back to our page we're creating, add a module, and go down to HTML embed. So drop down again for the HTML embed and hit create new. We're going to call this spot on the water. And we're going to copy and paste that HTML code. Go ahead and hit publish. And we're going to return back. And go back to our HTML embed and drop down and select spot on the water, the one we just created. We're going to go ahead and add another module, and that module is going to be recommended guides, recommended fishing guides on Table Rock. Looks like it gave us a couple options on some local fishing guides, and I can't choose between one of them. So I'm going to go ahead, inspect or view page source. And it's going to show me which code belongs to which. We're going to make sure we find the right one. I'm going to double click it and edit as HTML. Select all, control copy. I'm going to go back to our page, add a new module, and go back down to HTML embed. And we're going to create a new one. And guys, you can do this all day. I'm going to show you for the Branson tourists and Branson hikers. I'm going to show you what that would look like. After you've published it, you can go back and add that HTML under the dropdown to your page. I'm going to go ahead and hit publish. After it saves, you can go up here underneath that publish button and open a preview of that page to see what the final version is, see what you need to tweak. Now I'm going to go ahead and show you guys how to make a custom page all about Branson. A good title would be Explore Branson. Internal name, I'm going to leave it the same so I know what it is. Add my page header, the Ferris wheel again. I'm going to go ahead and add a couple things that I'd want on here. I do have a video that I like to use, so I'm going to do a video module. To do a video, you will need to have it uploaded based on the URL. So once you click video, it's going to ask you to create a video. And you will have to have that video uploaded to your YouTube account. It doesn't need to be public. It doesn't need to be listed. It just needs to be uploaded. And you'll hit new. And here you can copy and paste the URL of that video. I have already done that. So it's going to show up right here under the videos that I've already added. I'm going to select that video. You can do a call to action here if you'd like. I'm going to go ahead and put one that says visit Branson or get tickets. I'm going to do visit Branson now. or even vacation or move. I'm gonna leave move to Branson now. And then for that call to action, if they click move to Branson now, you can select where you want that to send them to. So I would probably have it send them to book a real estate consultation, or maybe find your home's value. Maybe they need to sell their home first before they can move to Branson. Or you can send them to Tom's Catch of the Day if you wanted to. You could even send them directly to that landing page we just created for that listing, which is what I'm going to do for this example, since I know it's in Branson. It's actually in Forsyth, but it's pretty close to Branson, so I'm going to go ahead and do that one. You can even create a page with 10 featured listings that are all houses within 20 miles of Branson and have them sent directly to those listings. You can hide your title here. You can add a description for your video. And down here, you can add a thumbnail image. You do want to add a thumbnail image because if you don't, it's going to look like this gray poster. And once they visit this page, it's just going to have a gray screen. So you'll want to go ahead and add a thumbnail, and you can do that by clicking on this hourglass. And any image that you've uploaded, you can add it here. For this one, I'm going to leave the Ferris wheel because I like it. Now that I have my video uploaded, I want to go add events that are taking place in Branson right now. So events in Branson. If you've ever looked for or searched for events on Google, there is an events column that shows you all of the events that are happening near you and the dates. We can import this feed directly onto our Explore Branson page by double clicking and inspecting. Once you find the one that highlights the entire list and nothing more, because that's all we want imported, we're going to double click on it, edit as HTML. We're going to select all, and we're going to copy it and go back to our website. This will need to be created in an HTML since that's what we did. HTML, drop down, create new. For this, we're going to label it events in Branson. And we're going to go ahead and copy that HTML code that we just did. And now here you can see that it's populated all of the events that are going on in Branson. Once you have this added to your page, as Google adds events and time moves forward, these will be updated live. It's a pretty nice tool to have on your Explore Branson page, because anyone who is looking for anything to do, they now have access to that. Now that we've created it, we'll have to add it to our page by going back to our Explore Branson page, the HTML drop-down button, and events in Branson. We'll get that added, and now it should appear right underneath our video. And there it is. I'm going to take it a step further. I'm going to add another module. And I'm going to do, let's try an iframe. Let's add an iframe. BransonChamber.com. We'll try this out. So here we have a page on Google that shows you all of the events going on and where they can register or they can submit an event themselves. I'm going to copy the URL because we're doing an iframe. Going to go to back to our page we're creating and iframe dropdown, create new. Give it a clear name and copy and paste that URL. As long as they don't have the security problem. There it is. And go ahead and publish it. Now I'm going to add the iframe that we just created to my page. And I'm going to publish again. Now that I've created this Explore Branson page, I'm going to go ahead and preview it. I've got my video here. Some events that are happening in the next couple weeks. And now a whole website where they can look into chamber news. Iframes are pretty handy. And you can do this with any website, as any asset on Google. You can iframe videos that people have on YouTube. It's a pretty handy tool. So I hope I'm going to go ahead and go really slow and show you exactly how I found those codes, because I know I went pretty fast. So if we want to do an iframe, the iframe only requires the URL of the web page or of the video. Go to create new iframe. So I'm going to go back to Tom's example. Best places to fish on Table Rock. And let's say I find a really good source like Ozark Anglers Forum, where to fish from shore. Looks like there's a discussion that I found very useful. A lot of good questions were answered. I can literally just go up here, control copy the URL, and I will put that under URL for the iframe. And if this happens and you don't have access to it because of their third-party security, you will have to do it the harder way and create an HTML embed. And I'll show you again really slowly how to get the HTML embed code. Hit the drop down and create a new HTML. So here you'll see it needs a raw HTML code. We'll go back to this forum. And instead of just copying and pasting like an iframe, the URL, we will have to double click on the page and go all the way down to either view page source or inspect. Once you get here, you will want to, if you want the whole page, make sure the code that you have clicked is highlighting the whole page. If you just want a certain section, like the top or just a certain comment, you can do that too. Once you find which code you need for what's displayed, you'll double click on that code and edit as HTML. What that does is it shows you and rewrites the code into an HTML. And you want to double click on that code that it gives you and select all, copy it, and then you'll go ahead and copy and paste that there. give it a clear name, and publish. Looks like I used the wrong code. So if you end up using the wrong code, they're pretty easy to fix. You can either go down to this drop down and create a whole new one, or you can edit that one that you've already created. I'm just going to go ahead and create a new one so I don't take you out of the page. I'm going to go back here and try to find the right one again. Okay. Select all, Control copy, Control paste. You had a blog, or you were wanting to share something as a blog, correct? Okay. So to do that, we'll go back to dashboard here. And we're going to hit blog post. So here we're going to do our blog post. And instead of, I guess you could copy and paste down here if it'll let you. But for your embed and your iframe, it's going to be in the body of your blog. You can create the headline however you want, fishing spots, subheadline. I'm going to put best places with the biggest bass. For the hero image, I'm going to go ahead and use the bass picture that I had earlier, hypothetical Tom.
Where did you get that picture of me?
It's not you.
Okay, yeah.
That'd be nice, right? Catching one of those today. Once you get to the body, you have a couple different options. You might see the format, a link button, and as well an embed button. So the embed, you want to go ahead and click the drop down on that and do HTML or iframe. You do an iframe, you'll need to either create it like we have been, or you can choose if you've already created it, just choose from that. Let's see. So Tom, you wanted to, oh, that was right. Okay. So there it is. So embed, iframe, and then we wanted the fishing report. So I'm going to go ahead and hit that, save and close. And then now, once they click on that blog, this is what it's going to take them to. We'll hit publish. And I'll show you how to add that to your homepage now, where your blogs are at.
I'm still stuck 3 steps behind. Get it at the bottom.
The first thing that you're going to want to do after you've created that blog post, so you'll go back to dashboard, and underneath your default pages, you've got your home page, about the agent, and the blog list page. First, you want to go to your blog list page and customize that. You have your page heading here, and you have your blogs underneath the take it from our experts. Until it's a list, and that's going to be a list of blogs. We'll go ahead and click that. If you scroll all the way down, it'll show you the things that you can do with your blogs. You can sort it by newest published date, by alphabetical order. You can change how many blogs are shown. You can filter it. And then the important part below that, you can add the blog that you've created. Do that underneath featured items, where you hit the plus button, hit your little magnifying glass, and you should see that blog post that you just created. Go ahead and select that one. Exit out unless you want to add more. And now you should see new blog that you've just added. You can reorder them if you'd like. Let's say we want this at the top. I'm going to go ahead and move it all the way to the top. I can remove some if I don't like them. I can restore them. This is kind of like a gallery for your website to access. Whichever blog you remove from here, you will not be able to use on your home page. So if you want it to show up on your home page, it must be in your blog pages, your blog list pages. After we've saved that, we're going to go return to our dashboard and make sure that that shows up on our home page. You'll see the layout on the left, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Underneath your featured properties and featured testimonials will be your blogs. And notice how it does not have that blog yet that we just created. You will have to go to number 4, my blog, and go all the way back down to your featured items again, and go ahead and add that blog or any other blogs that you've created. And I'm going to go ahead. I want that one to be the main focus. So I'm going to go ahead and move that up to the top.